Quite a lot of recruiters ask me how to attract developers. Whenever I record a webinar, there is at least one recruiter who asks, hey, how do I attract a PHP developer or a Java developer or a data engineer and so on. So in this short video, I would like to talk about 9 areas, or 9 suggestions, how you can actually approach the sales and marketing in terms of recruitment. So the way I look at attracting developers is actually twofold. So first, you need to source developers, right? So you need to approach developers on some social network. It could be LinkedIn, it could be whatever database you may have in your company. And then after you interview the developer, you are about to hire him or her, right? So you extend an offer and you hope he or she will join the company. So here you need to sell the opportunity, while at the beginning you need to market it properly. So that's why I look at recruitment as a marketing and sales effort. And then it comes back to, like, how do we attract developers in these 2 spots in the process. So first, I would say it starts with you as a recruiter. So let me put down the 9 points on the whiteboard. Okay, first. So let's start with the first point, you. It all starts with you as a technical recruiter, right? It's same with any kind of sales. You need to understand what you are selling, right? So in this case, you need to understand the technologies, the frameworks, languages. You need to be able to have a discussion, a meaningful discussion with the hiring manager and also with the developer. So understand the technologies. Well, it's a great place to be at the RECRUITMENT Academy, because here you can actually learn all these great things. Second, job description. Well, you may remember, sometimes there are these job descriptions a page long, full of fluff, nothing really interesting. There is a shift to a video, presenting a company through the video. Through the lens of a daily life, and this is something we also do at RECRUITMENT. I will link an example that we recorded just recently for a company based here in Bratislava. And in the video, you can highlight the culture, you can highlight the team, and so on. So let's shift from the super boring job descriptions to an exciting, interesting video. 3, a company. So whenever I hire for a startup, it's really a good sign, and it's much easier than for a corporation in general, right? Because developers tend to prefer startups over corporations, just because in startups there is no legacy, and usually developers could see their impact. That they can have a meaningful impact on the product. Whenever I work for a company, or I hire for a company that has a strong mission, it's really easy to communicate to a developer, because developers also like to work for companies that are driven by their mission. So again, I'm highlighting the full arsenal of the weapons that you can use, and you can pick based on the company you are working for, right? So number 4, the team. And this is really interesting, especially in terms of best practices that I will talk in a while, because a company could have a dozen or more teams, and the teams could be on different levels in terms of the technical best practices. Usually the core values are shared among the company, so make sure that you mention at least 1 or 2 core values in a pitch to a developer, but also think about the fun and teamwork. This is something we hear over again from developers. They want to work in an environment that is all about teamwork. They have some fun at work, but also don't forget about the best practices. And again, sometimes in a company, 2 different teams adopt the best practices on different levels. So I see sometimes a team that is say on a scale from 0 to 10 on level 8, and another team is on level 6, just because they haven't adopted, continuous integration or continuous delivery. So It's also good to be able to ask the hiring manager where that particular team that you are hiring the developer for is, right? Is the team, at 80% or 60%? It's good to know so that you can tell this very important thing to a developer. Number 5, technical stack. Recently cloud is very popular among developers, so make sure that you ask the hiring manager, do you guys use some of the cloud services? Do you use AWS or GCP or Azure or IBM Cloud? If yes, great, make sure to highlight it to a developer. If not, then maybe you want to ask the hiring manager if at least experimenting with some of the services could be the first task of a developer. And again, you can experiment with how to present it to a developer. Number 6, a legacy. It's actually a legacy not. That's why I highlighted the not. You want to focus on projects that actually don't involve too much legacy, because developers in general dislike working on projects that have lots of code already written in the past. Often the code is not maintained properly, it hasn't been refactored, so developers don't like working on projects like those. You can actually compensate, and this is what often happens in corporations, right? They have lots of legacy code, and developers don't enjoy working there, so they need to overcompensate this fact with higher salary. On the contrary, in startups, developers earn less also because they, in general, can learn more and they work on cooler technologies, newer technologies. Number 7, experience. Well, at least from my experience, developers, especially the junior ones, value experience over money. So that comes back to what I was just saying about the startup environment in general, right? So as soon as you have a startup where a developer can learn a lot, he or she prefers working there over earning lots of money. Number 8, office location. Sometimes I highlight the fact that the company has offices in the city center. Usually, from my experience, it's more important to focus on the commute time instead of table tennis as an example. So I don't focus too much on some of these perks, but instead think about the commute time, because that's what matters on a daily basis, right? Like, who wants to commute for half an hour or 1 hour just in the morning and 1 hour in the evening? And number 9, compensation. Important especially for senior developers, especially for those who work on body shops or freelance contracts. Like, these guys focus on their daily rate a lot. However, developers who work for startups, for example, are willing to work for less money, and they compensate it with the growth and experience. All right, so now I shared a lot of ways how to look at the marketing and sales for you as a recruiter. So what to focus on. This is the full arsenal, and you can usually cherry pick two, three areas to focus on when you send a message to a developer. So this is it, and we will dive deeper on a particular level, for example, for a PHP or Java developer or data engineers in the following video.